You walk into a dealership, a bank, or a leasing office, and they run your credit. And then they come back with that look on their face. You know the one. And they say, your score is a little low, so we're going to have to put you at a higher interest rate. And you sit there nodding, like you understand what just happened. But inside, you're thinking, how is my score still low? I pay my bills. I haven't missed a payment in months. What am I doing wrong? And here's the thing. You're probably doing everything your bank told you to do. Pay on time. Don't miss payments. Keep your balance low. But what nobody told you, what banks are specifically hoping you don't figure out, is that there's an entire layer of the credit score system that works in your favor if you know how to use it. And almost nobody does. I'm talking about legal, legitimate strategies that can add 50, 80, sometimes over 100 points to your credit score in months, not years. And the reason banks don't advertise this is because a higher credit score means you qualify for lower interest rates, which means they make less money off of you. My name is Yaji, and I spend way too much time thinking about how credit scores actually work and why the system feels rigged against the people who need it most. If you're someone who feels stuck with a mediocre credit score despite trying to do the right things, or you're tired of paying higher interest rates on everything from your car loan to your apartment application, make sure to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Because by the end of this video, you're going to understand the credit score system better than 95% of people. And more importantly, you're going to know exactly what to do to use it to your advantage starting today. Let's start from the beginning, because most people have a fundamental misunderstanding of what a credit score actually measures. Your FICO score is the score used in about 90% of lending decisions, according to FICO itself. It is made up of 5 components. Payment history makes up 35%. Credit utilization makes up 30%. Length of credit history makes up 15%. Credit mix makes up 10%. New credit inquiries make up 10%. Most people know about payment history. Pay on time, don't miss payments, your score goes up. That makes sense. But here's what most people don't realize. The second biggest factor is credit utilization. It makes up 30% of your score, and it's the one that most people are completely mismanaging. And it's the one where the biggest loopholes live. Credit utilization is the ratio of your credit card balance to your credit limit. So if you've got a credit card with a $5,000 limit and you've got a $2,500 balance on it, your utilization is 50%. Now, most people have heard that you should keep your utilization below 30%. Keep it under 30% and your score will be fine, right? Here's where it gets really interesting. That 30% rule is wrong. Or, more accurately, it's incomplete. According to data from FICO and multiple credit research firms, the people with the highest credit scores, the 800-plus crowd, don't keep their utilization at 30%. They keep it at single digits. We're talking under 10%, and ideally under 6%. The difference between 30% utilization and 6% utilization can be 20 to 50 points on your credit score. But here's the loophole that almost nobody knows. Your credit card company reports your balance to the credit bureaus once a month, usually on your statement closing date, and they report whatever balance happens to be on the card at that exact moment. So here's the play. Pay your credit card balance before your statement closing date, not before the due date. Most people think, I just need to pay before the due date so I don't get charged interest or a late fee. And that's true. You won't get charged interest. But the balance that was on your card when the statement closed, that's already been reported to the bureaus. So if your statement closes on the 15th and you pay your balance on the 20th, the bureaus saw a high balance for that reporting period. But if you pay your balance before the 15th, the bureaus see a 0 or near 0 balance. Same spending, same payment behavior, completely different credit score impact. Let me show you this in dollars and cents. Let's say your credit limit is $5,000 and you regularly spend $2,000 per month on the card. That is 40% utilization being reported to the bureaus. If you pay that $2,000 down to $200 before your statement closes, that is 4% utilization being reported. That's single change. Just adjusting when you pay, not how much you pay, could bump your score by 30 to 60 points over 2 or 3 reporting cycles. And a 50-point increase in your credit score can be the difference between a 7% mortgage rate and a 6% mortgage rate. On a $300,000 home loan over 30 years, that 1% difference in rate costs you about $60,000. $60,000. Just because of when you paid your credit card bill. All right, here's another one that banks definitely don't advertise. Your utilization ratio is calculated two ways, per card and overall. So if you've got 3 credit cards with a combined limit of $15,000 and a combined balance of $3,000, your overall utilization is 20%. That's decent. But if one of those cards has a $2,000 limit with an $1,800 balance on it, that individual card is at 90% utilization. And high utilization on individual cards can tank your score even if your overall utilization looks fine. Here's the move. Request a credit limit increase on that card. If you've been making on-time payments and your income has increased at all since you opened the card, there's a good chance the issuer will approve a limit increase. Sometimes, without even doing a hard inquiry on your credit. You call up the card company and say, "I'd like to request a credit limit increase. Can you do a soft pull rather than a hard inquiry?" Some will say yes, some won't. But it's always worth asking. If they bump your limit from $2,000 to $5,000 and your balance stays at $1,800, your utilization on that card drops from 90% to 36%. Your overall utilization drops too. That single phone call could add 20 to 40 points to your score. Now, you might be thinking, but Yaji, won't asking for a credit limit increase hurt my score because of the hard inquiry? Here's what most people don't realize. A hard inquiry typically costs you 3 to 5 points and only affects your score for about 12 months. The utilization improvement from a higher limit can add far more points than that and lasts indefinitely. The math almost always works in your favor. This one is probably the most powerful and least talked about strategy in the credit world. Here's how it works. If someone with excellent credit, a parent, a spouse, a trusted family member, adds you as an authorized user on their credit card, the entire history of that card shows up on your credit report. So let's say your mom has a credit card she's had for 15 years, with a perfect payment history, a high limit, and low utilization. She adds you as an authorized user. Suddenly, your credit report shows a 15-year-old account with no missed payments and excellent utilization. Your average account age goes up. Your payment history looks stronger. Your score jumps. I've seen people add 60 to 80 points to their score in a single credit reporting cycle using this strategy alone. And here's the thing. You don't even have to use the card. You don't have to be given the physical card. Your mom doesn't have to risk her credit. She just adds your name to the account, and the history transfers to your report. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but I don't have someone with great credit who can do this for me. Fair enough. There are services called Trade and Rental, where you can pay to be added as an authorized user on a stranger's old account. Technically legal, though FICO has worked to reduce its impact over the years. But if you have a family member with good credit, this is completely free and incredibly powerful. Let's talk about credit mix, because this is one that most people completely ignore. Credit mix is 10% of your FICO score, and it measures whether you have a variety of credit types. Credit cards, installment loans, mortgages, auto loans, student loans, and so on. If you only have credit cards, you're leaving points on the table. Here's the loophole. Credit builder loans, several banks and credit unions, and apps like Self and Credit Strong offer what's called a credit builder loan. Here's how it works. You apply for a small loan, maybe $500 to $2,000. Instead of receiving the money up front, it's held in a savings account. You make monthly payments over 12 to 20 to 4 months. At the end, the money is released to you. It's basically forced savings combined with a payment history builder. And because it's an installment loan, it adds a different type of credit to your profile, which improves your credit mix. The cost? Usually $10 to $25 per month in interest and fees. Over 12 months, you might pay $120 to $300 total. But the credit score impact? Adding an installment loan to a profile that previously only had credit cards can add 15 to 30 points. And at the end, you've got $500 to $2,000 in savings that you didn't have before. For $120 to $300, that's actually a pretty good deal. All right, this next one is where things get really interesting. Did you know that according to the Federal Trade Commission, approximately 1 in 5 Americans has an error on at least one of their 3 credit reports? 1 in 5. That means there's a 20% chance that something on your credit report is wrong. A late payment that was actually on time. An account that belongs to someone else. A debt that's past the statute of limitations but still showing up. A collection account that was paid off but not updated. And these errors can be dragging your score down by 50, 100, sometimes even more points. Here's what most people don't realize. You have the legal right to dispute anything on your credit report that's inaccurate, and the credit bureaus are required by law, under the Fair Credit Reporting Act, to investigate and respond within 30 days. If they can't verify the item is accurate, they have to remove it. So here's the move. Go to annual-credit-report.com. This is the only official, free site authorized by federal law, and pull all 3 of your credit reports. Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. You're entitled to 1 free report from each bureau every year. Go through each report line by line. Look for accounts you don't recognize. Late payments you're sure you didn't miss. Incorrect balances or credit limits. Duplicate accounts. And accounts that should have fallen off. Most negative items can only stay on your report for 7 years. Bankruptcies for 10. Dispute anything that looks wrong directly with the bureaus online. It's free. It takes about 20 minutes. Now here's the thing about disputes that banks really don't want you to know. Sometimes, even if a negative item is technically accurate, the creditor who reported it may not bother to respond to the bureau's verification request within the 30-day window. They're busy. They have thousands of disputes to deal with. If they don't respond in time, the bureau has to remove the item, even if it was accurate. I'm not saying to dispute accurate information hoping creditors won't respond. That's walking a line I'm not here to help you cross. But if something is genuinely wrong or you're unsure about it, there's no reason not to dispute it. Here's another loophole that almost nobody talks about. Strategic timing of credit applications. Every time you apply for new credit, the lender does a hard inquiry, which drops your score by 3 to 5 points. And that inquiry stays on your report for 2 years, though it only affects your score for 12 months. But here's the thing. FICO understands that people shop around for rates, so they have a rule called rate shopping. If you apply for multiple auto loans, mortgage loans, or student loans within a 14 to 45-day window, FICO counts all of those applications as a single inquiry. So, if you're shopping for a car loan and you want to compare rates at 5 different banks, do it all within a 2-week period. It counts as 1 inquiry instead of 5. That alone can save you 15 to 25 points. And look, people buy cars and houses relatively rarely. But when you do, this timing strategy can save you money not just on points, but on the interest rate you're offered, which can be worth thousands of dollars over the life of the loan. Let me paint you a picture of what actually happens when you put all of this together. Right now, let's say your credit score is 640. That's considered fair. Not terrible, but not good enough to get the best rates. With a 640% score, your mortgage rate is roughly 7.5% to 8%. Your car loan rate is roughly 10% to 14%. Your personal loan rate is roughly 15% to 20%. Your credit card rate is 22% to 28%. And some landlords won't approve apartment applications at all. Now let's say you spend the next 6 months applying the strategies in this video. You start paying before your statement closing date, dropping your utilization from 40% to 5%. You call and request a credit limit increase on your highest utilization card. You get added as an authorized user on a family member's old account. You dispute 2 errors you found on your credit report, and 1 gets removed. And you open a credit builder loan. 6 months later, your score is 720. That's an 80-point increase. Completely realistic. I'm not making that up. Now, with a 720% score, your mortgage rate is roughly 6.5% to 6.8%. Your car loan rate is roughly 6% to 7%. Your personal loan rate is roughly 8% to 11%. And your credit card rate is 16% to 19%. On a $25,000 car loan over 5 years. The difference between a 12% rate and a 6.5% rate is about $4,200 in total interest. On a $300,000 mortgage over 30 years, the difference between 7.5% and 6.5% is about $70,000. That's not a small number. That's a car. That's a college education. That's a chunk of your retirement, all because you understood how the system actually works and used it to your advantage. Here's what I really want you to understand. Your credit score is not a judgment of your worth as a person. It's not a reflection of how responsible you are or how hard you work. It's a number generated by an algorithm. And like any algorithm, once you understand the inputs, you can influence the outputs. Banks and lenders profit from you not understanding this. They profit from you having a lower score, because it means they can charge you higher interest rates. They profit from you not disputing errors because it means those errors keep dragging your score down. The entire system is designed to keep you in the dark. But here's the good news. The rules are public. The algorithm is known, and everything I've talked about today is completely legal, completely legitimate, and completely within your control. You just have to decide to take action. The credit score loopholes are real, and the banks are absolutely hoping you never figure them out. But now you know. You know that paying before your statement closes, not just before the due date, can dramatically reduce your reported utilization. You know that requesting a credit limit increase can lower your utilization ratio without changing your spending. You know that being added as an authorized user can add decades of positive history to your report overnight. You know that credit builder loans improve your credit mix cheaply and effectively. You know that 1 in 5 credit reports has errors that you have the legal right to dispute for free. This isn't complicated. It's just information that isn't in your bank's interest to share with you. So take action this week. Pull your free credit reports from annual-credit-report.com. Check your statement closing dates and adjust when you pay. Call your credit card companies and ask about limit increases. Have a conversation with a trusted family member about the authorized user strategy. Small moves, big results. If this video helped you understand your credit score in a way nobody ever explained before, make sure you hit that subscribe button and drop a comment telling me your current score and where you want to get it to. I love seeing those numbers go up. And if you want to go even deeper on building wealth and making the financial system work for you instead of against you, check out the next video on the screen. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.